From the heart of Broadway and historic downtown Cape Girardeau, it's time for Mr. 100, 5-Star Man here on the Podzilla 1985 Network. I'm Double H, back for the first time in not so long a time.
It's been like a month.
I was going to say back fairly recently. But as you point out, first time recording here at the Gaming Ground Studios, which is really exciting. To my right, your host, Mr. 100, Shannon Young. To my left, the 5-Star Man, Asa Gray.
Yes.
Directly in front of me, we'll get to the peanut gallery. You wait your turn.
Me and Parker got beat.
I told you to wait in the car. Directly in front of me is the Big D, Dalton Anthony.
That scared a lot out of me.
Well, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. Yo.
No.
And in the peanut gallery, my wife is here, Sarah's here, and Parker, and the mascot. He's angry. I don't know what he's angry.
He's always angry. He's probably still thinking about that Ubisoft conference.
He heard my name.
He's probably thinking about those beans.
Every Sunday I work here, somebody asks me about the pictures.
Every day I get that.
My favorite story to tell about that is that people ask about the pictures, and they go, "Oh, is that your dog?" And Shannon goes,
Yeah. Nope. And then that makes it weird. That's like if I pulled out my wallet and it's like, I'm looking for something. There's a picture of this family. Like, oh, is that your family?
Nope.
No.
It's a stock photo that
we've discussed. We're going to get you
it's someone's family.
We're going to get you a Godfather shirt. Only it's him in black and white. That's what it's going to be.
I knew a guy in college who, like, their house was decorated. Like, it was like 2 or 3 guys had a house. And they had, like, family portraits all over, like, the place. And none of them were them. It was all just the ones that the frames came in.
And then one was the dogs playing poker. Like, that's my cousins right there.
That's them.
Oh, it's not tacky.
So you're probably wondering why I brought y'all here tonight. Well, the E3 coming out on Atari soon. E3 wrapped up for the most part, and we're going to talk about it tonight.
Well,
talk about
the conferences did. The convention started yesterday.
Right.
Like, it's
Are you
all
serious?
Yeah, it's all this week.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I thought the
presentations
convention
was the
started
conference.
No,
they do the conferences first so that they can put everything out to everybody, and then they open up the convention floor so the people there can get in on the stuff they've conferenced about.
And
So
like,
are they just
that
gonna
way
have,
nobody breaks the news before the
media
conferences
outlets
do.
have meetings and stuff, and
Are they just going to have monitors everywhere so people can rewatch the CG trailers over and over again instead of playing games?
We'll feed you, baby bird.
Yeah, we're going to
getting
get to
there.
that. We're going to get to that. I do want to thank Dalton and Double H for being on the show tonight. It is great to have you guys here. Double H, obviously you haven't been around in quite a while. We had you back during the animal interview at Comic-Con. That was exciting. Dalton was not supposed to be here tonight. It was originally supposed to be Jesse Kimball. Jesse, unfortunately, had a work thing to do, so he's not going to be here.
Yes.
So I'm really sad about because I know Jesse is chomping at the bit to talk about it, but I'm sure he will on Nerd Up. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop mentioning Jesse.
The best part is going to be if you can't actually hear that on the
I feel like we should mic him. Just so,
Can you just
Get a little-
timestamp it every time?
the little
and then
battery
add-
pack one.
Just
and
add a
put it on
dog bark
there.
sound every time?
just so we. Oh, by the way, so this is really fun. We are doing this thanks to our sponsor. They didn't really give us any money, but we work. Some of us work there and we record there. So I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for tonight's show, Gaming Grounds. Oh wait, let me do it. Let me do a better thing. All right, Dalton, I want you to say.
No, I'm not doing a commercial.
I thought it was
no.
sponsored by Grape Nos.
You-
Didn't we already talk
we
about
did
this?
set
Well, that was the
already.
photo. The show picture was sponsored by Grape Nos.
Really quick, just say how excited you are for Kingdom Hearts, the thing that came out. Just real quick.
So excited.
Well, I want to talk about Kingdom Hearts here in just a second, but first, let me tell you about the store that I went to that had the best video games that I've ever played. Gaming Grounds in Cape Girardeau and Jackson. Best selection. It's a great, great place. Take that, Jericho.
Can you time that and then make the sound quality just a little different?
Yes.
The most delicious steaks I've ever had.
Yes.
No.
Since this is going on Gaming Grounds, we had a rule where there's no cussing. But to give you guys an idea of what it's going to sound like if we do cuss, right now I'm just going to throw out one quick and I'm going to write it down. So the sound you heard.
I've never heard him say that.
how'd you do that with your mouth?
Whenever you hear that noise tonight,
Can you
just
spell
know
it
that
for me?
someone got super excited.
Part of me is I just desperately want to just randomly in the middle of someone's word just throw out just super profound.
And I'm going to try to keep track of this as best I can. All right. So let's talk about
You have to
E3.
re-listen to the entire episode because you just lose track.
This is going to get posted next Friday.
If anyone cusses, I want you to stop for a moment. Let me write it down before we keep going. So, overall, E3, before we get into the specifics of it, I just want to say what a disappointment it was. It really was for me. It was a disappointment.
Good night, everybody.
It wasn't as good as last year's.
It wasn't, and I think the problem I had with it, and I this is one of those things that I watch a lot of YouTube reactions to E3 because I like to, especially there's a couple people that I really enjoy watching on YouTube. I don't know if you guys watch Beat 'em Ups Woodhawker. I really like him. I like RGT85, and I watched theirs reply to these presentations, and what they said is exactly what I was thinking, and it was that I cannot believe the lack of actual video game footage at E3. This was just a giant trailer.
Yeah.
It was so much of it was CG.
A lot. It feels like that it was worse this year than it has been before, but that's kind of always been E3. Part of the bummer, though, is it's because it's games that we haven't. Usually with E3, when we get like just the cinematic trailers, it's because it's a totally new thing.
We've never heard of it.
We've never even heard of this.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's no surprises.
But with this one, it was stuff that we've heard about and we're excited to see.
Right.
It's our first look at Halo Infinite, at Avengers, at whatever.
But you knew every bit of that was coming.
Yeah, but none of it was gameplay. That was all again just cinematic.
Yeah,
and it was
cinematics.
just like, oh man, that's.
The reason
bummer.
I hate cinematics, and Dalton and I were talking about this earlier before you guys got here, cinematics are so misleading when it comes to video games. And I think of two examples specifically, and even though I love both games, the World of Warcraft, if you ever watch the cinematic for World of Warcraft, and then go into the game, they're completely different.
Yeah, and that was the
And same thing with Knights of the Old Republic, the Old Republic, the MMO.
Well, and I think that's just part of the genre of just MMO. You aren't going to get that because Elder Scrolls Online had the same giant cinematic trailer,
Which is crazy because Elder Scrolls Online is one of those games that's already out. In fact, that expansion is out
But they did. Which expansion was it?
elsewhere. It's the one that's based around the Khajiit and stuff. Yeah.
But they announced for Elder Scrolls Online, they announced an expansion last year, too, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think it was either Morrowind or the one after that, and I don't remember the name.
But yeah, no, because they just I remember that was one of the big things from Bethesda was it was like a big update for that one. So they're just going to keep announcing like, hey, we're still kind of making this game.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me though that you have a game that has an expansion that came out and you don't show it. You just show a cinematic trailer. It's baffling.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the footage isn't done.
If you're far enough along into the game that you can show that much, surely you're far enough along that you can show something,
Right.
even if it's just a little sizzle reel of little clips here and there.
How about the new world, or how about like a
the
weapon?
level cap. There's a new class, the Necromancer.
And I
Show
understand
some of that.
With an MMO, that's a little tougher to do because you have all the characters are player created. So you don't necessarily want to show, it kind of draws people out when you show, well, that's not my character.
Yeah.
And that's maybe going a little deep. But I can see why, from that marketing standpoint, you might not want to do that. But even still, do something.
To have
Show me
nothing,
something.
And don't get me wrong, like cinematic trailers look amazing. That Elder Scrolls trailer looked amazing.
Yeah, but I said I think it was in the group chat, the legendary PZ85 group chat at the time. I'm watching this trailer going, yeah, this looks incredible. This is not what the game is going to be like.
No, not at all.
In any way whatsoever. And I'm never going to play the game because I'm just not an MMO guy. I'm not a big online guy. I'm just not going to. But I'm watching the trailer going, yeah, this looks great. It's not enticing me to play the game. I want to see more of what happens in that trailer.
Right. Like how many game announcements did we get, especially at Bethesda?
Yeah.
Of that looks cool. What kind of game is it?
Yes.
What genre of game even is this?
Broken.
Tactics
we've-
puzzle shooter. Hey, what?
Yeah, I feel like E3 almost entirely was divided between CG trailers, mobile announcements, and a spattering of new gameplays.
And like random like deep dives in the developer studio behind the scenes stuff. It's just like nope.
And then there
Hard
was
pass.
Ubisoft.
Literally at the
Then
end
there
of my
was
notes.
Ubisoft.
The one thing that
So
I'm-
much mobile, please show more gameplay.
The
Do
the
things
one
I
thing
wanna
that I'm
make sure we
absolutely
do.
hating in like E3s is the amount of like DLC and expansions to games that are already out, and like,
Right.
and I'm saying that
Even though you were excited about a DLC.
yes, but it's one of those things that like that's not gonna make people buy your game.
That
See,
doesn't
but
feel
I-
like an E3 announcement.
That-
yeah,
Sometimes
it's
it
not an
can,
I
but
kind of disagree though, just because like that's just where we are with gaming now. Like the days of paying $60 and getting your full experience is dead. Like and we just
Square Enix would like a word with you.
whereas no, now you're gonna pay $60 and get a fourth of a game, maybe.
Maybe. a fourth might be generous.
But like the DLC stuff can be big because like look at Final Fantasy 14. DLC literally completely reinvented that game.
Yeah.
And look at like the games like Division that are not only putting out, these DLC packs, they're doing it for free.
And Division is one of the most. Is it free? Because I bought an Ultimate Edition that came with a season pass.
Early access. Like you get stuff ahead of time.
Okay, and that's like
And then,
with
like-
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and then you got like the bonus skins
Yeah.
and you got stuff like that, but the actual content itself is going to be free.
Yeah, but
There
like
it is.
Take that.
but with, like
Ooh.
Almost cussed too. Almost had to write it down.
what I'm getting at with like Kingdom Hearts 3 and being a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, like seeing the Remind trailer, which is something I knew was already coming because of their orchestra, they leaked it that way. But this was the first time seeing anything from it. Like that trailer of DLC did not that is not going to make somebody go out and buy Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts.
you
3.
mean the
Because
random?
he
You mean the random orchestral music over just random gameplay footage with zero sound effects
No
or
sounds.
voices?
but text
Like
on
every
the screen.
like every Kingdom Hearts trailer they've ever shown
Yeah.
at E3.
And that's what Dalton told me, because I told him he looked up the trailer for it, and I was like, "That's not a trailer. This is fake because it looks so shoddy." And he's like, "No, this is what Kingdom
That's what
Hearts
they
does."
showed.
And he gave me proof.
Yeah, and
I was
then I
like,
showed him proof of other examples.
It's historically accurate.
But it's one of those
Wow.
that's just like, that wasn't an E3 announcement.
No.
And as much as I love Kingdom Hearts 3, last year's Kingdom Hearts announcement was an E3. They showed a system
You know what is not an E3
that you
announcement?
couldn't buy.
Is like the mobile game that Commander Keen is not an E3. No,
Keen.
let's go.
Oh,
let's
boy.
start it up. Let's start it up. Let's
20
go
minutes
piece by
into the
piece.
episode.
Yeah.
Let's get specific about it. E3 started on Sunday, right? Like
the convention started.
Well,
The conferences
it's a-
started on Sunday.
It depends on what you want to count as E3.
Right.
Because, like, do we want to talk about Stadia? Because we didn't really talk about it on
Let's
Sunday.
talk about Stadia
Because
for a
Stadia
second.
was
Yeah.
Thursday. Kind of funny, put it great, because I watched all of their like watch along and recaps and stuff, because that's like the one that I follow mostly. And they put it great where it's like E3 is essentially Black Friday.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't technically part of E3, but they were using E3 to market it.
May
Right.
as well be.
And
For
then
WrestleMania weekend.
yeah, and then
Yeah, exactly.
EA Play was Saturday.
Right.
So
Which I don't even know what happened on EA Play.
They
We
announced
got-
Madden 20.
They did it. They did a dive through like some of the sports games. That's where we got the 15 minutes of gameplay for Fallen Order. That was that was the big thing though.
Which let's do Stadia first, then we'll
Mm-hmm.
go to the rest. So Stadia, for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, but in case you don't, Stadia is the new cloud-based gaming service that Google is doing.
Totally streaming online.
Totally
only.
streaming, no downloads, no
Yeah, any
patches.
Chrome browser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's ready to go. Also on your phone, assuming you have a Pixel.
Starting with Pixel, but and I think it only is like the only way when it launches is only through TV, so the Chromecast Ultra.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be expanded to various browsers on your computer, your tablet, your smartphone, iOS eventually.
Right.
Anything that has an internet connection and a browser essentially.
So on the surface, that sounds great. Like that really sounds great, because if you can play some of these games, like I know a lot of people that want to get into PC gaming, but they don't want to spend money on a PC. So I bought something a little while ago called the NVIDIA Shield, which is pretty much like the Stadia, except you have to have a specific box to use it. And I thought it was really cool. I was telling Cody Sandusky about it because he kind of wants to get into PC games, but he doesn't want to get a PC. I'm like, well, you can get this and you can stream these games. You don't have to download them, which is really cool. And that is really cool, but I don't know. There's something about the Stadia, and I don't know if it's the price. I don't know if it's... I think my biggest problem with it is still my belief that when you purchase a game and you don't get a physical copy of that game, on other services at least, you can still play the game. Like, let's say I buy something on Steam. I'll always be able to play that on Steam. Maybe, I don't know, what if Steam goes out of
So yeah,
business?
if that launcher just dies,
Your games are
you're
gone.
everything's gone.
Yeah.
And same thing with Stadia. If Google decides at any point to close down Stadia and they don't have a system set up where they take these games and put them elsewhere, because you remember GameStop's digital service that they had?
So,
I bought one game on there, and that was
Unfortunately.
Deus Ex. I don't even remember what it was called at this point, but I bought Deus Ex on there. And when that went down, I thought, oh, well, I've just lost my game because this service is gone.
Right.
But that actually integrated into Steam. So now Deus Ex is available on Steam, the one I purchased.
Yeah.
So if Stadia does something similar, though, who's to say where those games will go? And that means that it's like when I played Marvel Heroes and Jesse and I pumped hundreds of dollars into it. That game is now dead.
Yeah.
That money completely wasted other than the time I had playing it. And that's what worries me about Stadia.
Yeah,
So-
it's because it is very like, just to like run through some of the like just the facts of it is, so it's online streaming, requires 2 megabits out of
Something like that.
something capital MBS to play minimum,
Yes.
and that's streaming at 720p. It can go up to 4K with like 5.1 Dolby surround sound quality.
Yeah.
But that requires 34.
Yeah, there was a whole scaling chart.
Yeah, you can
if
go-
your
you
internet
can-
service is this good, you get this much.
Because like
So-
if like luckily for us, because this is something Jesse mentioned on Sunday was, as Charter is,
1350ish.
we at least don't have data caps, which
Yeah.
are very
Yes.
common. Like, we have pretty solid internet. It may be kind of inconsistent, and their service may be atrocious, but like we could do Stadia here.
At 4K.
At-
more than
like
likely.
run it
Yeah.
at 4K. But that 4K does require the paid membership, which is $10 a month. That is what is launching in November.
Yes.
There will be a free version that launches sometime in 2020. They haven't announced that yet. But once that's launched, basically what it is you pay for the games through Stadia.
Yeah.
You don't download anything. You don't have to worry about updates. You don't have to worry about patches. It's all done on Google servers.
Right.
And then you can play through browsers, or you get a Chromecast Ultra, which will just plug into your TV.
Right.
And then the only way to play through that is with their actual controller, the Stadia controller, which is $70. Or
I think it was 70.
no, is it $69 or $79?
I think it's 60.
69.
It's
69,
$69.
so
Yeah.
70.
So so it's
I
$70
know.
bucks for the
I know.
controller.
It's the sex controller. Oh, should I blink that?
That's with
No.
all
Yeah.
the that's with
No.
all of the that's with all of the like YouTube integration, like because it does some like they're saying it's going to do some cool stuff with
For $70
Right.
bucks, I certainly hope so.
the trailer that they show. I mean, it's only $10 more than a Xbox controller.
That's true. I keep
And
forgetting.
that's a standard controller, not
Yeah.
counting if you get a custom
The
made
new
one or
Elite
something.
Well, not if you get the
controller-
Elite 2 for $190.
Yeah. So, but it's the one of the trailers that they showed was for the new Ghost Recon game, and it showed like, okay, if the four of us are sitting, playing
Right.
over Stadia, I have my screen up, I'm watching. Dalton's like, oh, I'm in a firefight. Hey, where are you? But he can't respond. You can actually see all three other people's screens.
Yeah.
So like, oh, he's over by the bridge. So it's like it was simulcasting like
Yeah.
your teammates what they were seeing on their screen.
It sounds like
And stuff like that is awesome. Like things like where, if you're stuck at a part, you have to stop the game, pull up your phone, YouTube, how do I get through this? No, you just push a button and it brings you straight to YouTube.
Or if you're watching an ad, the one I saw, and I can't remember if we talked about this, but if you're watching an ad, like say an ad comes up when you're watching a YouTube video and it's for a game and you like it, you click that ad, it'll take you straight through to the game.
Yep.
Which
Or
you
like
go straight through to play the
and
game.
that's pretty neat. But to me, it sounds like what they're basically doing is it sounds like the Switch just in a cloud base. Like take your gaming on the go. Well, you can do that with Switch, except you have actual games that will never go anywhere.
Oh, the 4K too. I mean, Switch.
Well,
doesn't do anything 4K.
Switch ain't Switch is lucky to get half a K.
plus you have the
Bottom half.
it will eventually
It's a
support
lower K.
like if you're playing on your computer, your Xbox One controller already syncs to your computer. You can just use your Xbox One. You'll be able to use keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Right.
It's only when you play on your TV you have to have the Ultra and you have to have the controller.
You gotta get that midnight blue.
And then they're doing the Founders Pack, which is $130, which by itself, Chromecast Ultra and the controller, there's your $130 right there.
right.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, 60 and 70. But you'll also get 3 months of the paid service when it launches.
Mm-hmm.
You get a 3-month extra buddy pass is what they're calling it. That so like if I end up buying it, I can give it to Shannon and he can try it for 3 months. And then there's also it comes with Destiny 2, which includes the complete up to 35 the new stuff that they showed,
Right.
that new expansion. So that comes up to that. It also says limited time, so I don't know how that is gonna work.
Yeah.
And then there's rumors that, because they haven't flat out confirmed that if you get the $10 a month version, the paid version, it's like Game Pass where there will be free games that kind of come with it.
That's when I first heard about Stadia, that's what I thought it was. Is it was a Netflix style subscription where you could play these games, right? And it doesn't sound like it is. What I'm surprised by was the lack of exclusive titles. Because is there a Parker just roaming at the
Well, we did get a big one at their announcement because the ending of that conference was the reveal of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Which is going to be PC only or
But also
Stadia. So if you want to play it on your TV, you either have to hook up your PC, use your TV as a monitor, or
Steam Link.
yeah, something like that.
Trust me, Steam Link's not a great option.
But you can't get it as like you're not going to be able to buy it on PS4 or Xbox.
No. And like I said, Stadia intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I will always hate digital gaming for 2 reasons. One, because I am an old school purist. I like to have a physical copy, especially with like older games. Newer games doesn't bother me as much, so Stadia appeals to me. But I also worry about the industry. And like I know this is we don't have time to talk about that, but like I worry about GameStop. And I myself and Hunter both former GameStop employees. Hope you don't mind me saying that on the air.
No. No.
And we've had our
We've had
differences.
that discussion.
Yeah, we've had our differences with GameStop, but like I don't want to see GameStop go out of business. As much as I dislike them sometimes, they provide a service that I use sometimes, and more importantly, I think of all the people that would lose their jobs.
I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no one wants that to happen. The more you go into digital gaming and the less you go to brick and mortar stores, the more people are going to lose their job. And
should GameStop not have to evolve with just the way the world is working now?
They should, and I don't know how they would. Like that's the hardest part.
They don't either because they are already kind of in a free fall.
Yeah, they're doing pretty badly, and I think Stadia is going to drive another dagger in the heart. And with all the
if
digital
it works
stuff,
and if it does everything it says it's going to do.
And that's the other thing is that this is such an unknown, and that's why I was so disappointed with Xbox's conference when they talked about xCloud.
Yeah.
Because I was very much like, okay, I'm kind of in, but Xbox is teaming up with Sony to kind of like it's not Microsoft versus Sony now. It's Microsoft and Sony versus Google.
Right.
Like they see them as the bad guy.
And meanwhile, Nintendo was in the corner, literally working with Microsoft and stuff.
I'm telling you, there should have been Phil Spencer should have come out and be like, the new Xbox will have a Switch dock.
Nintendo is actually just Yoda on Microsoft's Luke Skywalker's back. They're just riding along for the.
I say to make it topical. Microsoft is Banjo and Nintendo's Kazooie.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. All right, we can't talk about Stadia forever, but I think that deserves a show on its own, but I'd like to know more about it.
Yes.
But let's move on to EA real quick. Just talk about, because of course you're going to have your Maddens, you're going to have your NHLs and stuff like that. That's all very cool. If you're a sports fan, you already kind of know what to expect. They update it every year. But Star Wars was the big one. The Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep, that's what they started with.
I'm going to go out on a limit and say that I didn't think it didn't impress me as much as I'd hoped.
I was entirely underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, the music was great. I marked whenever Saw Gerrera showed up. Like, loved that. But it didn't feel... If that was just an action game put out by EA and it didn't have the Star Wars license, no one would care.
If there were no lightsabers, nobody would care about that.
Yeah, because even, like, that was the thing. It's like...
Well, even the lightsabers, Bob asked me, like, okay, so he just lightsabered a... stormtrooper, right? Why did it just leave a burn mark?
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's just like, oh, man, like the Jedi Academy
Had
with
dismemberment.
the dismemberment stuff, which was awesome. This did not have that. There were some really cool moments, like where you pull him in and you stab him through.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. Him like freezing the bullet blast, pulling the dude into it, and then like making him hit him, like he shot himself in the back.
Yeah. Right.
That was awesome.
But
everything else just felt like so.
It was Force Unleashed.
It didn't look fun, and maybe it's one of those things where, like, once we play it,
I take it
better.
back.
I love Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed was more Star Wars than this.
Because
this
Force
was like
Unleashed-
Assassin's Creed.
It looked so much like Force Unleashed was so much faster paced. It looked like this seemed very slow,
Which is weird from Respawn of all
Yeah.
people, and that's what really gets me is this doesn't feel like a Respawn problem. Like if you just attribute, okay, we gave the license to this company, here are all the things they normally do. None of that felt like a Respawn problem, but the story feels really lacking. Like the atmosphere is just not there.
Yeah.
And maybe that was just because like this was early game, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just
because
like,
when does this take place?
It's in between episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah, after Rogue One. No,
before
it
Rogue
would have
One.
to be before Rogue
Yeah.
One. Yeah,
Spoilers.
never mind.
But it's after the Jedi have been, Order 66 has been issued, so now
Right.
this guy has to be living in secret.
And
as
this
a
is
Force
canon,
user.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be.
So now we have another Jedi that is roaming the Earth that they never talked about before.
Well, not the Earth. They're in a galaxy far, far away.
I
Shannon.
forgot about that. I want what everybody else wants. I want Knights of the Old Republic 3.
Yeah,
They had the Old Republic out on PC, and it's a good game. It's an MMO, though, and there are parts of it that I could see people not liking. I just wanted, like Hunter, just raising his hand there, I just want a good open-world Star Wars game.
I don't know if this is open world though.
I don't think it is. This
See, I don't even
very
need it
linear.
to be open world. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I love Knights of the Old Republic, and I absolutely would love a third game and for it to be open like that. But I don't necessarily need an open world game. Don't make it open world just for the sake of it being open world. If you don't have enough things to fill it, already this doesn't look like it has enough things to fill a linear game.
And in fairness, this is alpha footage that we saw.
True.
Right.
So like the Chewbacca looking or the Wookiee. Sorry, that was racist.
Looking alike.
I was about to say you beat me to it.
The Wookiee just looking like flat and smooth and weird. Like it's alpha footage. Maybe stuff will
Jerry
look
Curl
better.
Wookiee.
But it's that thing. It's like
Flat, smooth Wookiee.
if the game comes out in 5 months.
Is it even that long? Yeah, November.
It's November.
Yeah.
Wow.
They have
It's
time
like,
to texture that Wookiee.
this is what they're showing us, like, which I get, like they had to show us something.
To be fair, a lot of my
because
Battlefront matches start with not textured Wookiees. It takes a little bit for it. It loads in after a couple of
Because
minutes.
last year, we literally just got like, hey, we're making a Star Wars game. Cool. Can we see anything? No.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Anthem. When
don't say that.
EA promoted Anthem and everybody was like, oh, that looked kind of cool and hope for the best. And then Anthem came out and it was fun, but deeper into the game, you're like,
Oh no.
what
There's
is
not
there?
a lot there.
Yeah, I just
Right.
got rid of my copy.
That's why they do the trailers.
And
Because
I'm
everything
holding
is
on
in the trailer.
I'm holding on to mine just because, like, I'm
the
hoping
hopes.
I'm hoping for a No Man's Sky or like even a Fallout 76
'cause
style.
It'll
of
be
just,
$20
like,
whenever that happens. Like, I don't have an
fair.
issue buying
Because
it.
they turned a lot of those games around, but I don't know if I trust EA. And EA even turned Battlefront around. Like Battlefront 2.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but
But
Star
that's
Wars
because
versus
there was an S storm because of it.
well, no,
It's true.
but it was because like there was a storm around this too. But Anthem's not Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's
Anthem
true.
is not the most recognizable franchise in human history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
true.
Harry
they
Potter?
had to do it with Star Wars. I feel like
There he goes.
Just let him.
I feel like they don't have that attachment.
Fallen
To
Order's
Anthem.
Yeah.
due out on the 15th, November
Yeah.
15th.
I'm worried about it, but again, I would say this was just a preview at E3, but it's like, but this was a preview
This
at
is
E3.
it. Yeah.
This is what E3 was built on.
Yeah, and this is one of the, for all we were complaining earlier about not having much gameplay, this was a lot of gameplay, all told. I mean, 15,
too
20
much game.
minutes.
Maybe everyone
and that's
else,
probably the problem.
everyone else saw EA and went, play trailers,
Ooh.
play trailers,
Yeah,
play trailers.
cinematic.
They start pulling their shirt collars.
Let's move on past EA unless they had anything else that was like mind-boggling good.
Not that I.
All right, who do we have up next?
Microsoft,
Yeah,
would have
Microsoft
been
the first
Sunday
was
morning.
the first like real E3
Or
conference.
Sunday
If you would
afternoon.
have told me that Microsoft announced a new console and that wouldn't be the talk of the town, I would have said
See,
you were crazy.
It's because we knew we knew they had to.
That was coming.
Sony was Sony is not
They were
part
gone.
of E3 this
They
year.
didn't do anything.
And a lot of people, like some people were given like kind of funny problems that or grief because they were kind of down on E3. But they're like, oh, they're just PS3 shill, like or they're PlayStation shills. It's because Sony wasn't there. But it's like I honestly like even if Sony was there, what would they have shown?
What would they have done
We would've-
differently?
We probably would have gotten that 9 minutes of Death Stranding.
Yep.
Which only included a little bit of gameplay.
The Last of Us
And
2.
We would
We're gonna
Zero
get something
story
from
because
that.
you tell me the story to Death Stranding. When the game comes out, whoever beats it, tell me the story.
Yeah, good luck. Even then, we would have gotten something of
Death Stranding?
Last of Us 2.
We would have gotten probably something on Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
We would have gotten something on. There's one more I think. that's coming
unless
out.
unless Sony pulled like a Nintendo, which we'll talk about later, and hit you with a big surprise announcement, like, oh, by the way, we're making the new God of War.
See, but I don't think they would have because like we would have, and then they would have done their console reveal that they did a couple weeks ago.
Right, the P5.
Yeah, we would have gotten something like that, but I feel like they skipped E3 because they knew we don't have a lot to show that's going to blow people away.
Right.
The biggest thing that we're missing because of Sony not being there is we didn't have that platform for third party. Like Capcom didn't have a huge announcement, or companies that aren't quite big enough to do Bethesda or Ubisoft style, which you could argue they didn't need to do their own conference this year.
No.
No.
Ubisoft especially. Ubisoft gets my worst developer
we'll get
every
there.
year, and like
That's fair.
they're just weird.
The bummer-
It's because they're French.
I will say though, at least there there wasn't a
Canadian.
there wasn't a really bad conference.
There were some bad ones last
Like there
year.
wasn't an Andrew WK concert in the
okay.
middle of something.
There was no Jamie Kennedy.
Ubisoft had the one like the Just Dance thing, but
Caffeine
they do
guy.
that every year because they
And,
feel
and
like
to be
they
fair,
have to.
I actually thought the Just Dance dance is always kind of cool.
And that was and it was harmless.
It's
That was
harmless.
fine.
It's whatever.
And the Contra Panda was there.
Yeah, he showed up in that.
He showed up there.
Look, we all do things we're not proud of for money. That's your bit, not my bit.
Take it.
I give you
Make
credit.
it better.
I'll give you credit.
But so with Xbox, like, okay, Sony's not there. This is their chance. They can just knock it totally out of the park.
Yeah.
They've got 14 Xbox Studio game announcements. They got a new console. They've got xCloud. This could be huge.
And instead, they hit a base hit.
Yeah,
Like it was just-
they hit a single.
Yeah, we got on.
They took the
We
walk.
got on.
They took the walk.
The bare minimum. Like we got a sizzle reel of a bunch of nerds talking about you've never seen 120 FPS yet, and it's like I mean on a console, yes,
And you
but
could feel Jesse rolling his eyes because Jesse
mean-
has that 144 hertz
Because he knows
monitor
those
like me.
eyes can't see that much. They can't tell. They can't tell the difference.
and it's
They're
just,
rolling to try to figure it out.
and they didn't even give us the name. They're just publicly acknowledging Project Scarlet.
Well, I feel
Keep
like
it
at this
Project-
point,
Project Scarlet is a cool name.
but they're not going to call
What
it
was the
that.
Xbox One? Scorpio?
Project
Scorpio was a
Scorpio
cool
was
name.
Xbox
Yeah.
One X.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Was
yeah.
it?
It was.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what Xbox One was.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the S?
It was one of the
X.
offshoots.
I think it was the X.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're not getting that name until next E3. I'm calling a shot right now. We'll get
And
it
we
next
know
June.
it's just going to be the Xbox 2.
Because it's not coming out until holiday
No, it's
I don't think
2020.
it will be. It's going to be something weird because it's the reason that they went from Xbox to Xbox 360 is because they didn't want to sound a generation behind the PS3.
Yeah.
You can't have an Xbox 2 versus the PS3 because that's going to
Or
sound.
PS5
They're
at this
gonna-
rate.
They're
Yeah.
gonna cash in
Yeah.
on that Ricochet heat.
Call
Call it
it-
the Xbox 630.
Call it the Nintendo, the Wii 60. Just partner
New.
up with Nintendo.
That's what the Nintendo partnership was
Yeah.
for.
New,
there it is.
New 360U plus plus.
plus.
The
I'm trying to find. I'm on recap.
Well, I've
just-
got a whole thing in order here. You want to just kind of run it down?
real quick with the console. Like we didn't get a price point, we didn't get a name, we didn't get a release date. All we got, like they didn't need to. Again, this could have been them going ahead of Sony.
Here's
of
what,
like, hey, Sony put out just some vague facts.
Yeah.
Here's hardcore information, and we didn't get any of that other than, okay, yeah, Xbox One, we bungled that because we heard you loud and clear. You want your game console to be about video games.
Can't believe.
Crazy thought.
Kotaku's wrap-up said the emphasis is on reducing load times. There's a solid-state hard drive. They did mention that. It can be used as virtual RAM to cut down on loading times.
With a combination of SSDs and solid-state drive.
Yeah, that guy did not know what he was getting at. The AMD processor is apparently 4 times more powerful than the One X. It uses high-bandwidth GDDR6 RAM and will be able to do 8K resolution and 120 FPS.
With ray tracing. They said ray tracing.
Yeah. Does it have blast processing, too? Did they put that in there?
It does. It does what Sony don't.
Does it work with Mode 7?
That reminds me of the old Comcast ad.
God.
Comcast ran an ad about like, this is gamer speed internet. Notice, is there any is there any buffering? Yeah, no, there's no buffering playing this game. Because that's not how that. We're just saying buzzwords that don't mean anything.
Words that don't mean anything.
This is insulting to my intelligence.
So I've got a list of the Xbox One games or the Xbox stuff here.
Because overall, like.
Too. I've got it. That's right.
The conference itself was like solid, and there were some really, really cool announcements.
Yeah.
It's just I was so bummed out by the xCloud and the console stuff.
What surprises me about it is I'm looking at it is the amount of games that have Xbox Game Pass listed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So many of these new games that are coming out are going to be Xbox Game Pass day one. Outer Worlds,
Yep. Which looked cool. Obsidian, makers of new Fallout New Vegas.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Knights of the Republic 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Allie got into Ori recently and really likes it.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
And that trailer looked gorgeous.
Outer
too.
Worlds is on October 25th. Ori's sequel is February 11th.
Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh boy, it's
not for me.
Looks
but
cool. Honestly, like I'm into it because I like those Diablo style games,
and that's what it is. It's a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, it's a dungeon crawler, but with a Minecraft skin. And like Minecraft, I enjoy. It's a Zen garden.
Can I throw one out real quick? I don't know if you have on the list there.
I'm certain I do somewhere. I copied way too much
because this one surprised the heck out of me. The Blair Witch.
Yeah,
that looked cool.
And that was one of the first things they opened with. I mean, they went right from Cyberpunk to that.
Third game they showed.
Yeah.
That was very surprising to me because I did not think they were going to come out with a game for the Blair Witch.
Yeah,
and
that was
I'll
super
play it
weird.
Because I love the first
It's out
movie.
in August. Like it's almost here.
Is it just me that were like, why would you not release this during the last film? You know what I mean? Like that was the perfect opportunity.
Because it wasn't ready. Because tie-in video games have such a stigma. They're never good. This way you have a thing of it being a standalone. Hey, this is actually going to be good.
And don't get me wrong, this is absolutely the kind of game where you don't want to show too much of it in advance, but this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. That game is out on August 30th.
Yeah.
Blair Witch is out August 30th. What do we get? Cinematic trailer.
Yep.
We have no idea how this game plays.
Which, to be fair, like this is the one style of game I think you can get away with.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I understand why you would want to do that.
You want to hide
then.
Mm-hmm.
Cyberpunk 2077 looked incredible.
Of course.
Oh,
which
with the end
Faceless Lord
reveal
and Savior.
of Keanu Reeves.
Time.
Hold on.
Oh, it's so
I'm off. 3250.
Oh man, we're already 30 minutes in. That was so
I know,
amazing.
so I'm trying to hurry it along now.
That was so awesome.
All right, well, let's get
you know what's funny about Keanu
You're
Reeves?
breathtaking. No, you are.
I yell that at my screen all the time, and I don't get a free game.
15 years ago, if you would have said Keanu Reeves, everybody would have laughed it out and been like, what a terrible actor, all that stuff. Skip ahead a little bit. Keanu Reeves
He's
was
the new Chuck
beloved.
Norris. He's the new Chuck Norris.
I remember
Speed.
whenever I would tell people about how much I like Dracula, they'd be like, oh, Keanu Reeves playing he's grown young somehow and all that stuff. No, Keanu Reeves has always been awesome.
There's a bomb
Y'all
on
just
this
catching
bus.
up now.
I think
I love Speed. That's my favorite movie ever.
think
what about Speed 2? He wasn't in it.
Yeah, that's why that movie was
I
garbage.
think it was
Control.
Elise from Funhouse pointed out that Cyberpunk, or either the Cyberpunk Twitter or the CD Projekt Red Twitter, put out a random tweet like weeks ago acknowledging the 20th anniversary of the Matrix game or something ridiculous like that, and they were like, they were playing the long con.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
they knew.
This is the epitome of what you were talking about earlier, Asa, with the third-party developers having Microsoft having a chance to take that and run with it since Sony wasn't there. And so they led with it. They had Keanu there. That was awesome. This was where they did that right.
Yeah.
Even though the game isn't out until April 16th of next year, this is where they absolutely capitalized
And they brought him on
that
stage
idea. Right.
to do the because the
Exactly.
release date, because we didn't have a release date before. Like this was an awesome moment.
The crowd went wild.
It's crazy that this was the highlight of the Xbox was a third party.
His character showed up at the end of the trailer, and I distinctly, Sarah and I were watching along, and she goes, "Is that Keanu Reeves?" And then Keanu Reeves comes out. Oh, yeah, it is Keanu Reeves. What do you know?
The crowd was excited.
Just look like him.
The crowd was not as excited as they were for the Bethesda conference, though. Just to be
We'll
fair,
get there.
Just to be
We'll
fair.
get
We're
there.
getting there.
We got a new Battletoads. And I know Cody was kind of a little critical of the art style, and I was too when I first saw it. But I think this art style really fits. I think Battletoads looks good.
That's what I was saying. Is it's like going back the old Battletoads game, like the one that I played on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, were super cartoony.
Right.
This is
it
also...
wasn't until like Killer Instinct that they were like, he should be Zip should be in Gears of War.
I think what Cody is referencing more than anything is the arcade version of Battletoads, which was extremely bloody.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was super gory, but it still had a cartoony style. Right?
Yeah.
So I think if this game is still as violent as those, I think there won't be any complaints. Now, Hunter, you don't like Battletoads.
It's not that I don't. I just don't like it as much as I like some other things. But what I was going to say was this is, we were talking about this is the E3 of 2 or 3 different things. This is also the E3, I don't think we brought this up yet, of 3-player stuff. Battletoads is a 3-player co-op game, not 4. Weirdly,
Well, there's only
not
3
2.
Toads.
But okay. So that one makes sense. Don't get me wrong. But then Rainbow Six Quarantine is a 3-player co-op game. There's something else along the way. I know I'm going to run into
was it. The Gears of War?
The Gears of War New Horde mode or
Escape?
whatever it is. The escape thing. That's a 3. I don't understand the 3-player.
We did get.
I think it's the Trinity.
I will say one thing.
Solely
Well,
Trinity.
that makes sense.
One thing that we skipped though was Bleeding Edge, which is Ninja Theory's new game. That 4v4 melee Overwatch hero style.
Oh, we didn't even real quick. Can I go back for just a second and touch on one thing that we didn't talk about a second? Because I think it's an EA game. I may be wrong, or maybe it's on this one. Hunter, you can help me out here.
Yeah.
The George R.R. Martin team up with From Software.
Elden
That
Ring.
was
Elden
done at the Microsoft conference. But yeah, Elden Ring.
So everyone was like, "Oh, look, a new Dark Souls game," and they kept saying it's a new Souls game because it doesn't have to be Dark
we
Souls.
don't
There's
actually know that.
There's also Bloodborne and Sekiro, which are
Which play
quote-unquote
wildly
Souls games.
differently.
Right.
But they have kind of the similar little to it. It looked like a Souls game.
Yeah.
We got nothing from the trailer other than it's weird because that's how From Software is. I am
how
curious.
George R. R. Martin is too.
I am curious about this one. I want to know what this one's like.
Yeah.
I'm more curious about it than I have been for any other like From Software game.
Is it the George R. R. Martin influence?
No, it's the other. This game
is
got
for me.
leaked. This game, details of this game were potentially leaked a couple months ago.
Right.
And it was some of the gameplay mechanics that I won't get into now just because if it wasn't true, then it's pointless.
Yeah.
But also I will say that and I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, but like the idea of Martin and Miyazaki teaming up and collaborating is definitely interesting to me because I understand the appeal of Game of Thrones and why people love it and how good it is. It's just not for me.
You know, Dalton, I had a girlfriend once.
Okay.
That's a good way to bring him into the show.
Did you just do a George R. R. Martin where you said something and then you're not going to finish it?
Why did you call him Jew R. R. Martin?
I'm not gonna.
Why did you?
I had a girlfriend
He said
once,
it.
and her name was Vina. You know, she was huge into R.A. Salvatore. Is it R.A. Salvatore?
Yeah.
Salvatore.
Salvatore.
You know what George R. R. Martin from Software getting together reminds me of?
What?
When R.A. Salvatore teamed up with who was it? Todd McFarlane
Okay.
and Kurt Schilling.
Oh, for
And they made a little game
Kingdoms
called Kings of
of-
Amalur.
Oh, that was
game-
such a good game,
That
though.
game was amazing,
It
though.
was.
But it
Yep.
bankrupted a state.
Bankrupted Rhode Island, I'm pretty sure.
But THQ Nordic has the rights, and we will get a new one.
It's coming around.
That is
God,
crazy.
that was such a good game.
The biggest one